I challenged myself to beat Super Mario RPG with only Mallow. I beat the game with Mario in an earlier video, and now it's time to give Mallow his time in the sun. The full set of rules are in the description-do, but briefly, only Mallow can take meaningful action, everyone else can only defend, with one exception that we'll talk about in a little bit, and all other characters must be nude. And the Lazy Shell and Super Suit are off limits because they are too overpowered. We start off the game with only Mario. We go to the castle, fight Bowser, launch Peach halfway across the world, and then head to Mushroom Way. I head straight to the Hammer Brothers and I try to kill them without doing any jump attacks. This is because Mario's jump attack powers up every single time you use it, and I want to make sure that even when Mallow isn't in the party, we have the weakest Mario possible. Of course, trying not to use jump attacks results in me dying twice during the Hammer Brothers fight, something that has never happened to me before. But on my third try, I figure it out. They drop the hammer weapon, which I will never use in this run, and we head on to the Mushroom Kingdom. And after I agree to save the kingdom from Smithy, we finally recruit Mallow. The run has begun. Then I force Mallow to change into pants, which seems like cruel and unusual punishment, and we head on to Bandit's Way, where we have our first boss fight with Croco. And the Croco fight is not a favorable one for Mallow. True to form, he is quite squishy. At level 3, Mallow has 24 HP, and Mario is at level 1 and has 25. And as you might imagine, this battle does not go well for Mallow, who gets bombed out of existence within seconds. And while it might seem that Mallow is terrible compared to Mario, he actually has some unique advantages. The first is that he can use his flower points to heal. For this reason, I head back to town and grab some honey syrups. So while I have some concerns about the excessive carbohydrates in Mallow's diet, he is going to be able to heal more than Mario for the same number of items. And while Mallow has terrible physical attack at this point in the game, at least compared to Mario, he does have access to Thunderbolt. It's a lightning-based spell that attacks all enemies. Mario, by contrast, can only damage one enemy at a time until he gets later spells. And with one additional level, Mallow is easily able to solo the Croco fight. Nice job, Puffy. So we grab his frog coin and head back to the Mushroom Kingdom. And this is where Mallow truly starts to shine. All of the Shyster battles are pitifully easy because of Mallow's Thunderbolt spell. So after burglarizing the castle vault, returning a lost wallet, and helping this small mush child break a waterbed, we fight Mac the Knife. In this fight, Mac summons 4 Shysters, and if they're still on the field when he gets a turn, he launches himself into the rafters where he can't be hit. This battle took forever with Mario since he could only hit one Shyster at a time, but Mallow's Thunderbolt spell hits all of them at once, killing them immediately and making it so they never get to attack, and therefore Mac never becomes invulnerable. So Mac goes down and we get our first star piece. And now we're on our way back to Mallow's home, Tadpole Pond. But not before we trade his frog coin to get an absolutely disgusting cricket pie. I totally respect that in some cultures they eat bugs, but I will never do it. I can't. If there's a nuclear apocalypse, the cockroaches will eat me first. And now we fight our first real challenge of the run, Mallow May. Mallow May is not an issue because Mallow can't do enough damage to him. Rather, he's an issue because he eats Mallow, taking him completely out of the battle. And in order to get Mallow May to spit Mallow back out, Mario has to attack Mallow May. But that ain't happening in this run. In addition, if Mallow is swallowed and Mario dies, it's an immediate game over. And that's exactly what happens the first time that I fight Mallow May, and the second time, and the third time.
That one didn't count.
But eventually, I do realize a strategy. Mallow May will not swallow Mallow if Mario is dead. So I get Mario down to just 1 HP and I go back into the battle. And this stupid dog thing refuses to attack Mario, only attacking Mallow. So I die. Or rather, I get eaten. But finally, on attempt number 5, Mallow May kills Mario and then Mallow kills Mallow May, which means we can finally move on. And by the way, there was a heated argument in chat about whether Mallow May is a dog or a cat or some other kind of weird animal. Based on how this world works, I'm gonna bet he's actually a tadpole, but I'd love to hear what you think. Let me know in the comments. And back at Tadpole Pond, we learned that Mallow is not actually a tadpole. This whole situation kinda reminds me of the Powerpuff Girls. You know, the 3 middle-aged gentlemen who pretended to be the Powerpuff Girls and fooled everyone, including the mayor. He looks nothing like a tadpole, come on. But in any case, when we give Frogfucius the cricket pie, he gives us Mallow's first weapon, the Froggy Stick. Now, Mallow can finally do damage with his physical attacks, and it is quite important that he can. Super Mario RPG's battle system is divided into physical and magical attacks, and all of the magical attacks can have one of 4 elements. Those elements are fire, jump, thunder and ice. At this point, Mallow only has access to lightning, which is resisted by many enemies, so having a good physical attack is crucial. But more on elements later. Now we head to Rosetown, we steal some shit from this fungus head, and Mario gets garlic ranch blasted into oblivion by a stupid puppet.
Can you garlic ranch blast me now?
And then we follow Gino into the woods where we fight Bowyer. Bowyer can block the party's actions, preventing either spellcasting, item use, or regular attacks. This battle was a little bit difficult in the Mario run because Mario's only form of healing is items, so when Bowyer blocks items, Mario obviously can't heal at all. But Mallow can also heal with his magic. Added to that, Mallow's physical attacks do about 3 times as much damage as his Thunderbolt spell. That means that I can allocate all of Mallow's magic points to healing and steamroll this stringhead. This is going to be easy. Or at least I thought it was going to be. Bowyer does a ton of physical damage with his arrow strikes, and he also manages to put Mallow to sleep. And that's my bad. I forgot to equip the wake-up pin. And while Mallow's sleeping, he gets all the way down to 7 HP. I really think I'm going to die at this point, but Mallow wakes up just in time to heal. And after beating Bowyer with a stick a few more times, he finally goes down and we get our second star. After the battle, my chat is clearly looking out for me because they have me go back into the forest to get a Kiro Cola that I missed from a hidden chest. Which reminds me, if these runs are amusing to you, I actually record almost all of them live. I do it right here on YouTube, and if you want to be updated whenever I do go live, make sure you join the Tantacles Discord. There's a link to that, as well as a bunch of other fun links in the Discridly-Do. So after ninja turtling through the sewers, getting wrecked by some houseplants, and dinosaur racing to get some edibles, we head to Mallow Town, home of the Mushroom Kingdom's finest Mexican cuisine. And the primary protein available in Mallow Town is purple dinosaur. This Croco refight was actually quite difficult for Mario. At a certain point in the fight, Croco takes away all of your items, so Mario can't heal, but once again, Mallow's magic-based healing comes in clutch. And with Mallow's new weapon, the Symbols, his physical attacks are now quite powerful. So powerful that we take down Croco on our first try. And while the citizens of Moleville might be content with Barney's giblets, I am not. So we head to the deepest recesses of Costco to procure a rotisserie chicken named Punchinello. By the way, plot-wise, did you know that Punchinello isn't a part of Smithy's gang? He's just a random dude who found a star and decided it was his. Smithy's gang are all weapons. Case in point, Mac is a knife, Bowyer is a bow, and Eurytovich is a spear with a spear. But Punchinello? He's a bird, not part of the gang. And this plucky duck primarily fights by creating scrumptious black truffle bombs, which subsequently blow up in your face. And in the first phase, Mallow's Thunderbolt can actually kill all of the baby bombs in just one hit. But as the battle progresses, the bombs in phase 2 and 3 get successively more powerful and more bulky, meaning that in order to beat this boss, I need to block them. And I've mentioned it before, but there are 2 action commands that block damage in Super Mario RPG. Good timing halves the damage of an attack, and great timing completely nullifies it. And in this battle, I got so many perfect blocks that I only needed to heal 3 times total before we roast this chicken. And I did 0 grinding to get here, unless of course you count the spices I ground up during my mise en place. But in any case, we get our 3rd star. After somehow managing to avoid every single coin in the minecart race, we head through Booster Pass to Booster Tower, where we encounter another delicacy, a saltwater turtle. He joins our party, and I plan to eventually sell him to the Moleville chefs. That's gonna be a spicy soup. So I climb the tower, I play the curtain game, and then we're on to Knife Guy and Great Guy. And these guys are tough. Knife Guy primarily focuses on physical attacks, and Great Guy mainly performs magical attacks. But more importantly, Great Guy can also put Mallow to sleep, which is exactly what happens. And then, once these 2 bosses stack, they do far more damage than I can handle, and I die. And it's pretty clear to me that I'm gonna need to do something differently if I want to kill them. They just do too much damage. I can't keep up. But since I don't want to grind yet, I head back to Frogfuchs's pond. There, I'm able to buy the single most valuable item in any solo character run in Super Mario RPG, a bracer. This item massively increases Mallow's defense for the entire battle. So with my caffeine pin equipped and my new bracer, I head back to the Great Guy and Knife Guy battle. I immediately use my bracer Racer, and it's immediately clear that this battle is going a lot better than it did before. And the wake-up pin doesn't hurt either. Now, every time Great Guy tries to put me to sleep, it's just a wasted enemy turn. Even worse for them, these enemies have finite amounts of flower points. That means that after a certain period of time, if they try to use a magic attack, they'll just whiff. It's a weird choice that they made in this game, because many bosses can just be stalled out until they can't do anything. And we'll probably do that again later in the run. But for now, I get overdamaged and I die. And my problem was that I started attacking Great Guy before I attacked Knife Guy. Great Guy's the one who runs out of FP, whereas Knife Guy can attack throughout the entire battle. But on my third attempt, I attack Knife Guy first. And for whatever reason, Great Guy decides to cast sleep spells a ton. Again, just a wasted turn for him. And eventually, both of these nasty-ass clowns go down. Next up is the Booster Hill minigame. Here you gotta chase down Booster and Peach, and every time you touch her, you get a flower. Which, looking back, sounds kinda creepy now that I put it that way. But anyway, I do more touching than I should, and I end up getting 11 flowers from this minigame. Nice. And with that, we're on to Marrymore and the cake battle. At the beginning of this run, I mentioned an exception. This is the one battle in which it's impossible to win with only one character. And here's why. The cake has 3 phases. In the first and second phases, you have to do a set amount of damage to the cake. No big deal. But in the second phase, the cake lights up 5 candles on its head. Each time someone attacks, no matter how much damage the attack does, just 1 candle goes out. And each time the cake gets a turn, 1 candle relights. In other words, if only one character attacks during the second phase, you don't make any progress and the battle is literally unwinnable. However, if I have all of my characters attack during only that phase and everything goes perfectly, we'll be past phase 2 in only 3 rounds of combat. So, of course, everything goes perfectly and I get through the cake battle on the first try. And we head back to the mushroom cake. You didn't seriously believe that, did you? Wow. This fight went horribly. The cake is truly the final boss of this game. The problem with the second phase is that for each of its turns, it does 2 to 3 attacks, all of which are pretty gosh darn powerful. And my non-Mallow characters have no armor. So the first time I go through this fight, it's an absolute massacre. The cake starts by putting Mallow to sleep because I equipped him with the Fearless Ring instead of the wake-up pin, because I can't be inflicted with fear. That will double the damage the cake does. And once Mallow wakes up, he puts him to sleep again. Mallow literally couldn't get a turn. Eventually, he does wake up, and on his turn, I heal the party with the Kiro Kiro Cola, this game's version of a Mega Elixir. And surprisingly, things are looking okay. But then the cake kills both Mario and Gino in 1 turn. And since I didn't stock any pick-me-ups because this is a Mallow-only run, this battle becomes a Mallow-only fail boat, which is the worst kind of boat, even if you don't own it. The second try goes even worse than the first one, with Mario and Gino dying almost immediately once the second phase begins. And even though this time I stocked some pick-me-ups, it doesn't matter because the cake puts Mallow to sleep and uses Dream Eater. I hate cake now. My third try, things actually start out a bit better. I managed to get 4 candles out before the cake kills one of my teammates. And that's probably the best scenario I could hope for, because Mario dies and his fear status is gone when he's revived. The cake misses a lullaby, so that's a wasted turn, and then it kills Mario again. However, because Gino is the first to act, he's able to revive Mario himself. Then Mario and Mallow both get a turn and take out another candle. The cake gets a turn now, relighting a candle and killing Mario, and 1 final attack from Gino and Mallow are enough to extinguish the final candle and proceed to the third phase of the fight. Mallow is the only one who will attack for the rest of the game, unless I mess up, but I won't because I'm a Giga Chad gamer. The third phase of the cake just can't do much to Mallow because of Mallow's superior magic defense, and just like that, we've made dessert extinct and we can move on with our lives free of diabetes. We bring Peach back to the Mushroom Kingdom and add her to the party, and then we talk to Frogfucius to find out where the next star piece is, and we head to Star Hill to find it. But before we go to Star Hill, we chat with this random guy hiding behind a house. I'm sure we'll be fine. And everything goes pretty well on Star Hill until I really want to run away. Please let me run. No, Giga Chad Gamer, I am not. But we do eventually get our star with no huge mishap. We head on to Seaside Town where I chat with the not creepy at all mayor who tells us that there is a star piece in the sunken ship. But before we go to the sunken ship, we have to go to the seaside. Now in the rules, I mentioned no glitches, and this is the part where you might disagree with how I play the game, because there's a feature of invincibility stars that we can exploit to save some time. And let me know in the comments if you think this technically is a glitch or not. Starmen cause your characters to become invincible, and when you run into any enemies, you immediately get experience from them. And whenever you die, you go back to your last save point and everything in the game is reset except your experience. That means that if you use a Starman and then you kill a bunch of enemies, get experience, and then immediately die without saving, that star reloads, but you keep the experience that you got from it. And that's exactly what I do. I grab the star, I kill enemies, and I die. And I do that a few times. In fact, I do it until Mallow learns Shocker, his most powerful single target spell. And then we head into the sunken ship. And a sunken boat is probably the second worst type of boat. I do a bunch of puzzles to get some flower points, and then we head on to the squid boss. And I swear this game has so many random hidden mechanics. I actually learned something new about the squid boss on this run. I never unequipped my fearless pin, but the squid still manages to cast fear on me. I'm not sure why, but somehow when the tentacles lift Mallow up into the air, removing him from battle, it overrides the fearless pin's protection. If you have any idea why it works this way, please let me know in the comments. I am very curious. In any case though, this battle goes off without a hitch. This boss certainly isn't weak against thunder, but Mallow's Shocker does enough damage to kill it pretty quickly. And I don't know if you can make mole out of squid, but hey, I'll bring it back to Moleville. Why not? They can have calamari along with their turtle soup. But before I bring it back, I ask for a carryout box. Unfortunately, it's pretty well insulated against electricity, so I die. But did I save? Yes, I did. Next, I grab the safety ring, and that's the most powerful accessory you can get in a solo run. The safety ring protects against all status effects, all elemental damage, and prevents instant death kills. I'm pretty sure that these solo runs would be impossible without it, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later. But now, we go to fight Johnny the Shark. At the start of this battle, Johnny has 4 sharky minions, and in a solo run, you want to kill 3 of them and leave the final one alive. This is because if you kill all of them, Johnny will immediately challenge Mario to a one-on-one battle. Not an acceptable circumstance in a solo run, obviously. But if you leave one alive, Johnny will just fight you as normal. He's pretty susceptible to thunder magic, so I use Shocker to take him down pretty quickly. And upon defeating him, we get our 5th star. Now, if we can just carry him back to Moleville, we can have a fish fry. So I go back to ask my friends in Seaside Town if they'll help, and instead of offering their assistance, they steal my star. That make Daddy Tantacles very angry. And I think our Seaside Town friends can sense that because they transform into Eurytovich. But before I fight him, I head back to Marymore and stay in the inn. There I'm able to get several Kuro Colas. And now it's time to fight Eurytovich. Because Mallow has ample healing, we're able to stall Eurytovich out of FP. And because many of Eurytovich's attacks are magical, he then can't do much. I hope that in the remake of this game, they just give all of the bosses infinite FP. That would make it a lot more interesting. But anyway, Eurytovich goes down and we reclaim our 5th star. And that seemed like a good time to wrap up that night's stream. So I showed off my periodic table of Super Mario t-shirt to chat, for which there's an affiliate link in the description-do if you want to buy the shirt and support the channel at the same time, and I went to bed. So I came back to the stream the next Wednesday with a new shirt, a new mug, and renewed vigor. And during this stream, we made a fun donation incentive for chat so they could terrorize me. Anyone could donate $2 to force me to cast Psychopath. If you don't know, Psychopath is Super Mario RPG's version of Scan. But if you get the action command just right, you get to read the enemy's mind, and sometimes they have funny things to say. So stay tuned for those. Our next destination is Monstro Town, where there's rumored to be a star. But to get there, we have to go through Land's End. And to get through Land's End, we have to fight a bunch of ants. And I know what you're thinking. Just bring them back to Moleville. They'll just cover them in chocolate and they'll be a delicacy. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite work that way. These ants have extremely powerful physical attacks. In particular, their Carnikiss attack can literally kill Mallow in one hit, and it's unblockable. So do I really need to tell you what happened happened here? I died. And then I die a second time. I know there's some way to avoid having fights with these guys altogether, but it's not happening for me. And I die a total of 6 times before I decide that it's time to go back to the pirate ship to grind. I need the Snowy spell. Snowy attacks all enemies with ice, and these ants are weak to ice. And you may be wondering, why do you go back to the pirate ship to grind? Why not just grind here? And the answer is this enemy group right here. One Thunderbolt will kill all of them, and they give 27 experience, which is a gargantuan amount for this point of the game. And once I get Snowy, the ants are no match for me. But now it's time to head into the Mallow May refight. In this battle, Mallow May randomly eats one of your characters and creates a clone of them. Peach clones are the worst because they heal Mallow May. Mario clones are just okay because they deal physical damage. And Mallow clones are the best possible option. They cast Electroshock, which Mallow is completely immune to due to his safety ring. So we end up with a Mario and a Mallow clone, and Mallow May actually goes down pretty quickly. So then we head to Monstro Town, where a grandma misleads us into thinking there's a star piece. That deception's gonna cost her. We're gonna make mushroom soup out of her later in Moleville. But in the meantime, we climb to Bean Valley, where we fight Smilax. And with the safety ring equipped, this guy, who does a lot of fire damage, goes down pretty easy. So we climb the beanstalk to the land of the sky people. Mallow learns that these are his people, and we head on to fight Birdo. And the fight with Birdo is another huge obstacle. Birdo's egg blasts can kill Mallow in 2 moves, and in fact, they do just that. But not before my chat sabotages me by forcing me to use Psychopath. Talk about adding insult to injury. The second time through, though, I start the battle with a Bracer and an Energizer. Those are enough to mitigate the damage that Birdo, also known as Kathy, can do to me. And with the increased damage that I'm able to do, I take Kathy out. And I don't mean for a dinner in Moleville. She's a vegetarian after all. And after we slam Birdo with an invincibility star, we have to fight with Valentina. Now, there are 2 configurations for this fight. If Mallow is the center character, Dodo takes him away and fights a solo battle with Mallow. Then the other 2 characters have to fight Valentina until Mallow returns. And if Mallow is the 3rd character in the party, then he has to fight Valentina with Mario. The Dodo battle is done by another character. So to make sure we're doing this run with only Mallow, we do this battle twice. The first time, I put Mallow in the center slot, and since he's well equipped, he has no trouble killing Valentina. This means that Peach and Mario have to fight Valentina until Mallow comes back. And though Peach and Mario ultimately get very low on health, Mario is eventually able to overcome Valentina with a few ultra jumps. And the rest of the battle is relatively straightforward. I take out Dodo first, and Valentina falls soon after. But not before chat donates to have me cast Psychopath again. I swear my chat really wants me to lose. But funny enough, Valentina, like many of the bosses in this game, gets stalled out of flower points, meaning she can barely do anything. And then we do the second part of the battle, where I have to have Mallow in the 3rd slot and somebody else fights Dodo. Unfortunately, the person that I chose this time was Princess Peach, so she dies even before Dodo is defeated, twice. But the 3rd time, I remember to make Bowser the middle member, and he's able to take out Dodo. Unfortunately though, Dodo and Valentina overwhelm me with their attacks, and I miss a bunch of action commands, leading to my demise. And the 4th time, I forget to switch Bowser in. That's a loss. But the 5th time, I remember to switch Bowser into the middle slot so he can fight Dodo. He does well, and then we're on to Valentina. So they both go down, and now it's time to go to the volcano. And let me tell you, the volcano is so much easier with Mallow than it was with Mario. Almost every enemy in the volcano is weak against the Snowy spell. So I head through the volcano and go on to the dragon boss. Now, this boss was really annoying. Every single turn, it has the ability to summon 4 little fire blob things. And these guys have one mission. The second they get a turn, they self-destruct, causing a ton of damage to Mallow. When I fought this battle with Mario, Mario was fast enough that he could take them all out with an ultra jump right away. However, Mallow is slower, so when this dragon summons those fireballs, they immediately blow up in Mallow's face and require immediate healing. And things are going okay, but then my chat goes off the motherfrickin' rails. Oh my god, Psychopath times 5? Someone donates $10 to have me cast Psychopath 5 times. And I can't attack until I do that. But being the dutiful video gamer that I am, I cast Psychopath 5 times and then I kill the stupid dragon and we move on to its phase 2. And while the bone dragon, which I call Draggy's mom, can't summon any more fireballs, it still has some pretty powerful attacks. But fortunately, Unfortunately, Mallow weathers the storm and he's able to beat this bone brain into submission. And will bring his marrow back to, you guessed it, Moleville. That's right, we're not going to waste a single part of the dragon. We're going to use all of it. And with this dragon's defeat, we head on to one of the most difficult battles of the game, the battle with the Axum Rangers. And what kind of weapon are they? Well, they're axes, duh. And if you want a more detailed account of how this boss works, head over to my Mario only run. I'll link that in the describly-do. But to keep it brief, pink heals, green does magic, and yellow, red, and black can all do a ton of physical damage. This battle was quite difficult with Mario, and I was pretty concerned about how Mallow was going to handle it given that he has lower physical defense. But Mallow has something that Mario doesn't. He has the Star Rain attack. This is a non-elemental damage spell that hits all enemies for massive damage. And after 2 Star Rains, the black and yellow Axum Rangers are already dead. A physical attack takes out the pink ranger, and Shocker takes out the red. I leave green for last because the safety ring makes me immune to most of green's attacks. This means I can heal up before I have to fight the ship itself, which can cast the Breaker Beam spell, which does a ton of damage. But not enough to really threaten me because I used a bracer at the beginning of this battle. And for some reason, my chat gave up on sabotaging me. Well, for now anyway. And after just 7 physical attacks, the Axum Ranger ship goes down. Now we get our 6th star, and we are in the home stretch. It's time to take a bus to Smithy's castle. And the reason I love public transit is because it's not my bus. Don't buy a bus. This one's made of clouds, though. It looks really nice. Don't buy a bus! So we ride the bus to Smithy's castle and play some mini-games, getting Mallow's sonic symbols along the way. These are his most powerful weapon, and now he's fully equipped and ready to smash. And specifically, the first thing we're going to smash is Magikoopa. And while this battle isn't particularly difficult, this particular iteration was very annoying. Magikoopa summons one of several minions to protect him. One is a bomb, one is a dragon, and one is Jinx. And Jinx has some incredibly powerful attacks. Magikoopa summons Jinx 4 times during this battle. Not sure what's up with my RNG, but I did not want that. But let me just say, it's kind of funny that the dialogue in this says that he's hiding behind Jinx. Jinx is like 2 inches tall. Interestingly enough, though, after 5 total summons, Magikoopa just gives up and stops attacking at all. I'm not sure if he ran out of FP or if this is just some weird programming error. Either way, he dies. And the next boss is Boomer. Boomer has 2 forms that he periodically changes between. His red form is susceptible to magic, and his blue form is susceptible to physical attacks. And the amount of damage that he can do is pretty low, so we get through this fight pretty quickly. Unfortunately, though, right after that we fight Exor, and there's no save point before you fight him. And unfortunately, a massively powerful Dark Star from one of the eyes takes me out the first time I attempt this battle, which means we're back to Boomer. But on the next fight, I use a ton of Star Rains, and I heal appropriately, and Exor goes down. And so do we. And the next boss is the Clock. And chat forces me to cast Psychopath again. Unfortunately, I can't seem to get the timing for the Psychopath action command on one of the bells, but the Clock does have thoughts. It's working overtime. But in any case, I take down the right bell, then the left, and then the Clock goes down without too much fanfare. Next, I fight a mandatory Eurytovich refight, which goes pretty well, and then we're on to fight 2 more clowns. And with a bracer, these guys aren't that bad. I take down the physical one first because, again, Mallow is immune to a lot of the attacks of the magical one. And without too much difficulty, the magical clown and his snake also go down, which leaves us with just 5 more bosses in the game. The first 3 are with the clerk, manager, and director, and I do feel kind of bad for them. They're definitely bosses because you get a full HP and FP heal after you're done fighting them, but they only have the normal battle music. So sad. Anyway, the clerk and the manager are pretty easy. The manager's minions even give you a defense up boost so you don't have to use a bracer. The director, though, is extremely strong. He has a number of bomb attacks that can do a huge amount of damage, but soon enough, he goes down too. And following that is one of the hardest battles in the game, the gun yoke battle. Fortunately, the gun yoke and his companion are both susceptible to sleep, and I bought a sleep bomb in Tadpole Pond earlier in the game, so I put him to sleep, and I happened to get a freebie of that sleepy bomb. I use a bracer and an energizer, and I go to town, and when they wake up again, I use a sleepy bomb again, and I get another freebie. I literally only had 1 sleepy bomb, and I got 2 more for free. RNG just turned this battle from an egg walk to a cakewalk. And now we're on to the final battle with Smithy. Again, see the Mario run if you want a detailed description of how this fight works. The first phase is pretty easy, so we're not going to talk about it. But the second second phase is a lot harder. Again, it has 4 forms. The tank form, which is weak against lightning but can do a ton of physical damage. The mage form, which is weak against physical damage but can do a ton of non-elemental magic damage. The chest form, which casts status ailments and is basically a waste of turn for Smithy. And finally, the tank form, which can cast Shredder, removing all of my buffs and can heal itself. Fortunately, it's also weak against ice, and of course we have Snowy to help us out. But regardless, the first time I fight this battle, I get absolutely destroyed. Mallow just does not have enough HP to survive. But if you've survived to this point in the video, please do me a big favor. Hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. The people of Moleville are starving, and this is the only way to get them food because I haven't been able to bring them all the animals I collected. No, but seriously, thank you. I appreciate each and every one of you. So now that it's clear that Mallow doesn't have enough HP, it's time to grind. And funny story, in my Mario only video, I said something that was incorrect. I said that once you fight the clock, you hit a point of no return. But I was wrong. It may be tedious, but you can always go back to the surface. So I do, and fortunately, I did something smart this run. Just one thing, not more than one, just one. I didn't use up the Land's End stars, so using those stars, I grind Mallow up to level 24. I also make sure I have plenty of bracers. In the Mario run, I got Yoshi-Aids, which do the effect of a bracer and an energizer at the same time, increasing your defense and your attack. But in this run, I have a funny feeling that I don't need them. I think the bracers are enough, so I head back to Smithy. The first phase goes down without any difficulty, but the second phase, of course, is where men are made, and this battle goes absolutely perfect. Holy shit. My chat wants me to cast Psychopath, and I think he's almost dead. Literally, this delay could be the difference between me killing Smithy and just dying and never wanting to play this game ever again. But I use Psychopath, and I find out that Smithy has only 383 HP left. So I pray for some good RNG on Smithy's next transformation, and I get it. He transforms into the treasure chest form. And after wasting his turn, he transforms again into the treasure chest form. I hit him again, and he's left with only 123 HP. And his next transformation is into the tank form, so I know he can't kill me, but will Snowy do enough damage to take him down? It does. I've beaten Smithy on my first... Okay, it wasn't my first try, it was my second try. But I have beaten Super Mario RPG with only Mallow. Oh, except for the cake, I guess. Thanks for watching, see you in the next one, bye-bye!